Oh boy, I really did not want to have to make this video. I really wanted to make a happy ending video, but unfortunately that may not be the case, or at least not yet. So let me fire this puppy up. I am not in enduro mode, but I have the traction control turned all the way down to enduro. By the way, the minus 600 till service is also wrong. I had it serviced not when it was due. I had it serviced early, and unfortunately you cannot reset it at all. So here we go. I'm a little nervous. It started, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Hey, Rainbow here, and welcome to my channel. And as you know, a lot of what I talk about is this 2021 Ducati Multistrada V4S. And if you can zone in there, you might see that I have over 19,000 miles on it in about a year and a month or so. And that's with me losing 2 months when it sat in the shop because I got hit by someone and it had $11,000 worth of damage. So that took 2 months to fix. All right, so let's talk about an update that, again, I'm going to say it again, I really did not want to have to make this video, but since I made everything public and I'm as transparent as they come, I really don't have a choice. So as you know, if you've been following, been having issues with this bike where it stalls at intersections, clutch in, clutch out, neutral, first gear, doesn't matter. That's what happens. Not all the time, but it does happen, and it will start right back up. However, twice, as a refresher, what we had was one time I got out of work, went to go home, bike wouldn't start, tried everything I could think of, bike wouldn't start. Tried to set up Ducati to pick it up for me, and they couldn't pick it up till the next morning. So I got a ride home, went in the next morning and said, hey, let me try to start the bike. And the next morning the bike still would not start. Okay, had it picked up and towed to the shop. When it arrived at the shop and came off the lift, the first thing it did was start. When I say lift, I mean the back of the tow truck. Okay, we thought maybe it was some bad gas, who knows. It started right up for them and always started. And I didn't really have that problem for a while until I went to Daytona. And if you watch my Daytona video, you will see that the bike wouldn't start. I get to my Airbnb the night before Saturday's race at the Daytona 200 for Moto America. Bike wouldn't start, tried everything, put fresh gas in, put in non-ethanol gas, you know, popped the tank, pushed it around, switched it back and forth, put it on incline, decline, and I tried about a dozen times and the bike just wouldn't start. So I scheduled for the morning another tow job to get the bike towed in. Well, what happened was, woke up the next morning, went outside, it had a half-dead battery, and it started right up. So I took it to the Daytona Speedway, and it has started ever since. Well, somewhat. So Ducati's obviously aware, and I said, hey, this is the second time this happened. Anna has a stalling issue. You guys need to look at this again, because every time I took it in the past, they could never reproduce the problem. So this time when I took it in, they're going to be under the direction of one of the technical experts from Ducati North America. And Ducati North America was going to be driving the ship, which would then authorize the dealer to get paid to spend enough time to troubleshoot versus not being able to kind of justify the amount of time that they spend when they can't reproduce a problem. So I handed the bike over. They kept it for 1 week. Okay, 1 full week is how long they kept the bike for. While they had it, took care of the center stand that had a bit of a little recall. There was a service bulletin there that had like a 27-point inspection that they took care of. They ran a bunch of tests and found out that on the B or C cylinder, the throttle body was out of adjustment and needed, I guess, a quarter turn or a quarter of adjustment on the throttle body, which could explain a lot of the problems. There are some map sensors, or like 4 map sensors on the bike that are underneath the gas tank. If any of them pop out or get loose, the bike just won't start. So they went and they tie strapped them down, ran a whole bunch of other tests, had them look at everything. Everything looked great. They went and they took the bike on a 12-mile ride, and it was perfectly fine. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. No issues at all. And then they let it idle through 4 cooling fan cycles. And it started, no problem. Start, no problem. So I dropped it off on a Thursday. Wednesday afternoon, I went to go pick it up. It was sitting back on the ramp of the shop in the back. And I have a great service manager, Yamil, and he said, hey, we let it cool off. We want you to try a cold start. So he and I walked back to the ramp, and bam, bike started right up. And we turn it off, turn it back on again, bike started up, turn it off, turn it back on the 3rd time, bike started right up. Okay, where am I going with this? Well, I went inside to do some paperwork with them, and then I said, you know what, I'm gonna run out and I'm gonna take the bike around to the front of the store so I don't have to carry my equipment, you know, all the way through. So I turned the bike power on, and then after I turned the bike power on, I went and I just backed it down the ramp without trying to start it. When I got it on the level and I was sitting on the bike and I went to go start it, and lo and behold, the bike would not start. So I immediately went inside and said, hey, bike won't start, come take a look at this. He comes out. What do you think happens? Of course, the bike starts. So we turned it on, turned it off a couple of times. It fired up about 3 times in a row. So I said, hey, let's let it sit for like 2 minutes, and I want to sit on the bike and try to start it. So while he was standing there, I get on it just like this. I go to start it, and lo and behold, it would not start. Okay, not at all. Finally, they got to see it. Other than seeing video of it, they got to see it happen in real time. So now when I'm going to pick up the bike, twice it doesn't start. Turn the bike off, turn the bike on, it starts. I drive it around to the front of the shop and I basically say, I'm going home and I'm taking the bike. Because really, I don't know what else they're going to do with the bike, and I don't know how much longer I want to be without a bike, because this is what takes me to work every day, and this is my this is my therapy dog, I guess you can say. So since I brought it home on Wednesday, and today is Friday, the bike has been perfect every morning. The bike has been perfect. Starts, doesn't stall, to work, after work, in the middle of work, doesn't matter. I go out and start the bike. The bike has been working fine, and that's all I know. So the point of this video is that I just don't know what to do anymore, and I don't know really what to think. In about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, I am leaving with this bike, and I am driving 1,200 miles to Austin, Texas by myself from South Florida. I'm hoping that I make it. And one of the things that kind of sucks about this situation is that every time I go to start the bike, it's almost like I hold my breath, and I really shouldn't feel like that with this bike. And I'm a little nervous about taking the trip. Some people might say, well, forget it, just fly out there and just leave the bike with... The answer to that is no. I bought a bike to use it, not to let it sit in the shop. I lost the use of it for 2 months after I was hit and we were waiting for parts to come in. And then I lost another week here. I lost a week once before looking at it. I'm just losing a lot of seat time while they're chasing things. But I gotta tell you that the level of the service I'm getting and the want and desire to fix this for me by Ducati America is very high. When I speak to the technical rep from Ducati, he wants this bike to be fixed. Everyone wants this bike to be fixed. But whatever's happening here isn't happening just to me. And for a while there, I was thinking, hey, maybe if I just had a full exhaust and the map, these kind of things wouldn't happen. Well, guess what? While I was picking up my bike this past Wednesday, there's a guy that's there, just happens to be from the Ukraine, and we actually had a separate conversation about that. And he has a Multistrada, and his is not completely tricked out, but he's got the full exhaust. He's really rides it hard. And he said, hey, I watched one of your videos. He goes, and guess what happened to me twice on one ride? And I go, what? He said, it stalled at an intersection, but both times with him, it was when he pulled his clutch in that it stalled. And it only happened on that one trip, twice on the same ride. I don't know if it's a trip, the same ride. And it happened to him where the bike just stalled, coming to an intersection, pulling the clutch in to stop. So I know it's not just me. I've had a bunch of people commenting in the comments, which is, I guess, where you comment. And what they're saying is some people are having the same problems. They had the start problem, they had the stalling problem, and it's with the Multistrada V4S. So there is obviously some sort of an issue going on, and that's really all I got to say. This is to be continued, I guess. I'm gonna risk it. I'm going to get on the road, and I'm gonna head out to Austin to go to COTA for MotoGP. I've had this planned since I was out there in October, and I'm just gonna do it, and we're gonna see what happens. And I'm just hoping that I'm not gonna have any issues with being stuck somewhere on the way and not being able to start the motorcycle. All right, well, now that we don't have the sunlight in our eyes at all right, feels good. Love this bike. I really love this bike. I really do. This is just a lot of fun, this bike. So anyway, you like that guy? He just went into the left turn only lane right through a red light, didn't care at all. Rather interesting. But anyway, this is Rainbow. Please like, please subscribe. If you're still here, if you're still listening, I'd appreciate it. And be safe out there. I'll keep you updated, and hopefully I'll see a bunch of you out at COTA for MotoGP. This is Rainbow. Have yourself a great day.